Hello, I hope that you are having a fabulous, beautiful, wonderful day. Today, the day started with three things for me. One, the memory of a Facebook post that said, "You cannot take your excuses to heaven." Two, an astrology email that mentioned how right now the placement of the planets is encouraging us to reevaluate our direction and make sure that we are not moving forward out of any sense of responsibility or duty or because we've already put a lot of energy into something, but because it's truly what our heart wants to do. The third thing that happened was I asked at the Toastmasters meeting as the person leading table topics the question, what do excuses mean? Why do we make excuses? Table topics, you have to answer a question impromptu. And the lady answered, excuses are like armpits. We all have them and they are all the same odor. Although I have been told that I could be more hippie because apparently I don't have odor and don't need deodorant. So maybe we don't all have the same odor physically, but all excuses have the same odor in terms of that respect and that idea. At the end of the programs with Success Resources, we have one of the leaders lead a program where he usually takes everyone's excuse on the board and talks about how that doesn't need to be an excuse. The most common excuses that we have are time, money, and trust. Let me tell you a story first. Imagine that you just had a long, stressful day at work. You get home, you're really, really tired, plop down on the couch. You see this big pile of dishes right by the sink. You're tired, you're annoyed, nobody else cleaned the dishes in your home. You don't want to deal with it. You just want to sit there and be lazy on the couch. And then your phone rings. Luckily, since we always keep our phones nearby, you don't even have to get up to answer the phone. You answer the phone. It's one of your best friends from college who happens to be in town just that night and wants to spend time with you. What happens? All of a sudden, there's no excuse of being tired. There's no excuse of too much. There's no excuse of somebody else should be doing this. It's I'm going out and I'm doing this right now. I like to remind people that because if something really, truly, fully is in our heart, then we can make it possible no matter what, right? When it comes to time, time is all about how we prioritize how we're going to use it. When it comes to money, it's the same thing. We prioritize it and we also focus it. So maybe not now, today, there isn't money in our pocket, but maybe we could start saving towards something. Maybe we could apply for a credit card that has 0% APR for a few months, and then we could start that thing right away that we couldn't afford otherwise. Whatever it might be, we generally find a way. Maybe we borrow the money, we get a loan, we get an investor, right? I put out my GoFundMe campaign to help put my book out there. And I started the book before knowing if all of the money is going to be there for the book. But that's my belief in the project and the possibilities with it. And then the third thing I mentioned is trust. And yes, if you don't have trust in somebody, or something, that's another reason why it's hard to invest your time or money in that program, that project, that person. And so you can always take the time to develop the trust if something in your heart is curious or wanting to go in that direction. This teacher who brings up the excuses thing, he says there's only one excuse that counts. That is intuition. But he warns us that sometimes we confuse what we might call mind frick, the mind coming up with excuses, as intuition. coming from an environment of people that really rely on intuition to make decisions and watching my own self with intuition, I've definitely seen a lot of times where intuition is used as an excuse itself, covered up to be called intuition, because we say that intuition is the one excuse that we are allowed to have and that is excusable. I want to add this as well, just so we don't get confused. Sometimes intuition comes into play because we are noticing something off about the energy of the situation. And then the mind comes in and wants to protect you and says, don't go there, I sense some danger. But here's the thing. This world is full of danger in terms of what the mind perceives. There's risks. There's people who are not always going to be nice. There's the potential of not being successful, whatever it might be. There's a potential of nobody being interested in this project that you're going to start. But we get something out of going about the process of this, right? And then what we are doing as well is generating energy for something to happen. So if we are letting that risk come into play because the mind is scared, then we're masking that as intuition and saying, no, don't do the whole thing. It's like throwing the baby out with the bathwater. So for the intuition people, I just caution noticing one bad thing and painting that as the whole picture. And instead ask yourself the question, this is the thing, the risk that I'm sensing. Is this a risk that I'm willing to deal with? And what is my recovery plan if this risk truly happens? Of course, we're also talking about the future, and we don't really know that that risk is actually going to happen. So that's something else to play with. Let me share something else about excuses. I had one teacher explain to me that when we make a lot of excuses and when our mind keeps focusing on something and coming up with excuses, we're actually trying to trick ourselves out of something that we really want. Also think about the idea of where the attention goes is really where you want your energy to flow. Otherwise, why would you keep thinking about something and thinking about something? So I'm just putting that thought out there for you that sometimes when you're making a lot of excuses, that it's because you actually want that thing. But let me share a couple of stories where this comes up. I recently got to spend time with a friend of mine that lives in a different city. He is engaged. I asked him how he met his fiance. He says Craigslist. I'm like, really? I didn't know people put ads in Craigslist for dates. And he says, yes, I put an ad in Craigslist about what a nice home I have and all these great features in it, and that I have an extra room, and that I want somebody to rent the room. So he really put the ad out to put out the rental for the extra room in his home. He was being silly. This one girl came in. She was in school, and she was young and didn't have a job yet, would be around the house quite a bit studying at odd hours. And he really wanted somebody who was going to be more like a 9-to-5 and already have a steady life. He said no to her. She kept coming back, and she even said, look, I'll pay, an extra month. And he kept saying no. And she's like, okay, I'll pay another extra month. And then finally he said yes, but he kept coming up with all these excuses. Now, what if they all listened to his excuses? He's engaged to this woman. This guy was like this bachelor who just loved being single. And this woman caught him, and they're getting married. Imagine that. I'll share one more story that happened with me recently. Some of you may have noticed that I put posts on my Facebook wall about Tony Robbins and getting discounted tickets, which, by the way, there's only about 15 seats left for those discounted tickets in Boston on June 8th. So message me if you want to know about that. But this is part of an app. It's the very first platform that has the option to tap into not just Tony Robbins, but a lot of the top motivational speakers that are out there. The platform also gives people the opportunity, if they would like, to generate income by making referrals. And I had about 10 people approach me with the idea of this app and joining in with them, and I said no. Then I went to the Enlightened Warrior Camp, which took away some layers of mind blockage. And the next person that approached me, I said, maybe, but I don't have much time for this. And so we're doing a little bit, and it took him a few tries to convince me as well. And I'm looking into it. I'm still like, I don't know about this. I don't know about this. Then I put the post on Facebook, and about 30 people replied to that post. So I thought, okay, there is potential here for this project to really go somewhere. And of course, I myself want to use the money that I invested in the app just to go to Tony Robbins. So even if I didn't make any money, being a part of this program is actually worth it. But I thought maybe I'll just pay that money when I'm actually going to go to a program. But let me fast forward here, because I just took little step by little step. Now I'm at these webinars, and I'm leading some of the webinars to introduce people into the program. And then the team that I'm on has offered support with getting my GoFundMe campaign for my book out there. One of them offered 25 free spiritual readings for anybody who donates $25 or more to the campaign. That's another thing you can take advantage of, because it's only being offered this month. On June 1st, I will do a drawing for the 25 winners of that free mandala reading. Mamie Lamley is the person, and she's a beautiful, blessed soul. And this is a gift that she offers people by being able to help soothe them, heal them, and tap into a deeper understanding of themselves. So that's one thing. And then we are going to have a mastermind, and we're looking at all sorts of other projects to develop. And then I'm making all these connections with all these amazing people. I have a team behind me that can support me and help push me along. The people that I'm connecting with about this program are stepping into ways to support my book. So here you have it. One thing leads to another. All these opportunities are happening. I'm going to a film festival in Sedona, and one of these people offered for me to stay in her home for free if the room is available. All of that's pretty cool. That from something that I said no to many times, and look at all of these doors that are opening. So we actually never really know, if we said yes, what could happen to ourselves. The last point that I want to bring out is that when we are saying no to something, that it is truly a no. We often feel like we need to speak excuses, because this culture feels like unless there's excuse, it's not believable. But I actually think the only way it is believable is if there is no excuse. There's no specific reason as to why not. It's just something that I'm not interested in. My heart isn't there. My intuition says no, whatever it might be. There doesn't have to be a reason, but this just isn't the direction that I want to go. On the flip side, one last thought I will give to you for the word no. One of my spiritual teachers had the statement, say yes to life. And my response to that is, when we have a no that is a yes to something else, that could be one of the few no's that we could have as well. The key is, whatever decision you make about all of these excuses, you want to make sure that your answer to the question, am I going to do this or not, excites you. It inspires you. It relaxes the cells in your body. It feeds you with energy. It motivates you. it drives you in a certain direction. So hopefully that helps you, give you some ideas of how to differentiate between something that's just an excuse or the true reason why to do something or not to do something. If you have any more doubts, if you have any more questions about that, you can always connect with me and I can help you break through some of those excuses. In the meantime, no excuses. If this was helpful for you, please like the video. Please share your comments below if you've had an excuse recently that you are not going to say anymore. And then share this video with others so that they can live to their fullest potential, saying yes to life. Many blessings. Much love to you. Bye-bye.